Hello, I'm Toycat and welcome back to my second channel, Geography Videos. So I live on what is, according to Wikipedia, the 9th largest island on planet Earth. Great Britain has 209,000 square kilometers, but despite being a very big island and despite being kind of close to lots of other things, the United Kingdom is only connected via fixed link to one other country, and that is via the Channel Tunnel, which connects the United Kingdom, or England if you want to talk about specific subregions, to France, and it connects it via France to Belgium, the Netherlands, and the rest of Europe. There is one fixed link, which is a word to describe a continuous tunnel or bridge that is generally always open for rail or road traffic between these places, and it's kind of the lifeline for traffic that doesn't involve air or boats. And although the UK is very big on airports, and we're very big on navy and boat ports, etc., etc., it's a big part of history, the idea of having more fixed links to other countries is something that seems really interesting. It's something that's been investigated a lot of times, and one of the most interesting things to me is the idea that, like, wait a minute, so the UK should probably build bridges to other countries, but what about actually linking up the four countries of the UK better? So Great Britain, according to this page right here, is made up of England, Scotland, and Wales, but did you know there's a fourth part of the UK? There is Northern Ireland. The United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland is what it says on my passport, but Northern Ireland is not linked to the mainland by any major means. There is no land or undersea bridge, which means that if you want to get between the two countries, you have to take a boat or you have to take a plane, which is something that I've always found to be at least mildly interesting. This is something they've tried to fix at least a few times with some various Irish Sea tunnels. So as you can see, here are 4 proposed routes between the Great Britain and the island of Ireland, and the 2 most logical ones are the ones that connect Northern Ireland to Scotland, but the problem is they both go to very not populated parts of Scotland, and then the 2 more logical ones are connecting Dublin to Holyhead. This is a very popular ferry route, or maybe, if you're being wacky, the south of Wales to the south of Ireland, because you know what, let's ignore politics, let's ignore, you know, it's a big distance, let's just ignore all the reasons and let's just build a bridge anyway. So interestingly enough, one of the things that comes up a lot, especially with the UK's current Prime Minister, is the idea of the Galloway route, of connecting Scotland to Northern Ireland. Scotland and Northern Ireland has a very historic connection. The reason that Northern Irish people outside of Northern Ireland are called Scots-Irish is because there's a huge Scottish influence. In fact, interestingly enough, it's kind of ironic given the Scottish desire for independence now, but the reason that Northern Ireland is so unionist is because of how Scottish and therefore, you know, British mainland and loyalists they would be compared to the rest of Ireland. And, you know, there's some interesting points about, like, oh yeah, the immigration of different peoples led to different politics, led to the whole thing they have now. The idea of linking these 2 places is something that makes a lot of sense. And a proposed link always goes from, like, Bangor or Belfast to Stranraer over here. But the problem with this, which is, by the way, a ferry route right now, the problem with this is an idea because it sounds like a great one. Look at this map and like, oh, it's the shortest route. It's entirely inside the UK. There's no international thing going on. This is a great idea until you realize that between them, again, none of the politicians talking about it will mention Beaufort's Dyke. It's a 3.5 kilometer wide, 300 meter deep trench. 300 meters or 700 to 1,000 foot. Is 1,000 foot a mile? I don't know how the imperial system works. I don't actually know. It's something like, I think I've heard it's 5,280, right? So it's a very dumb number, but like it's almost a mile deep. Probably that's how miles work. It's actually nowhere near to a mile, is it? Anyway, so there's a very deep tunnel, very deep dike, you could perhaps call it. And inside this dike are a lot of weapons. For some reason, this is the wackiest thing to me. The reason we can't have a tunnel between Scotland and Northern Ireland is because not only would this be a nightmare to build through for 3.5 kilometers, you couldn't build a tunnel through it because obviously it'd have to be a very deep tunnel, but also even crazier than that is the fact that, oh yeah, we dumped munitions there, and that was kind of bad enough, and then as a result of recent looking into it from the Public Record Office, apparently there's also nuclear waste. We're like, where are we going to store all these munitions? I mean, I have no idea. Why don't we dump them in the sea between You know, it's not like, you know, like Northern Ireland can get any more dangerous, am I right? And apparently that's just official policy. So, yeah, the idea of linking places together is really interesting, and the reasons why it doesn't work are also interesting, but it tends to get very political very quickly. The reason why, even though this exists and the nuclear waste, you know, drop things exist, the reason why despite that you'll still see like, ooh, the UK government announcing investigations, spending a lot of money looking into this is because it's a very great idea on paper. People love the idea of building brand new links between countries, and I love this idea too. So let's talk about other examples like Croatia linking to itself. A really interesting thing you might not know, you know, Croatia, it's one of those countries that not everyone knows in the world. Hey, did you know? Croatia, this is what it looks like, and ignoring the meme of like, Bosnia asking, hey, can we go to the coast? And Croatia saying no. There actually is a tiny bit of coast that belongs to belongs to Bosnia. And this separates Croatia into two effectively. There is northern Croatia and southern Croatia. Dubrovnik's in southern Croatia. The rest of Croatia's in northern Croatia. It's a whole problem because right now, if you want to go between Dubrovnik and say, I don't know, Split, if you want to go between Dubrovnik and the capital city of Zagreb, you have to fundamentally cross into Bosnia, go through their border crossing, and then cross back into Croatia. It's two border crossings just for this tiny stretch of road. You know what would fix that? If they perhaps built a bridge between Croatia and Croatia. So one of the funny ideas to me was like building it over Bosnia, but instead what they're just doing, again, they say building over Bosnia. What it actually is they're building from Croatia to Croatia, connecting these two islands together and allowing you to kind of bypass Bosnia, which is an interesting thing because I read into this article and it's like, oh yeah, the problem with the bridge is it makes sense in a world where Bosnia and Croatia are separate countries, but if they're both joining the EU and Croatia is in the EU, going towards Schengen, Bosnia is going towards the EU. If they ever do become both part of the Schengen area, which is the long-term plan for both of them, it would make no sense anyway. And the government's just like, we'll just do it anyway. And one of my favorite things, according to Marta Vidovic, I think it's easier to build a bridge rather than to, example, fight or try and make some arrangements with Bosnia and Herzegovina. Basically, they're saying, rather than making arrangements with our neighbor, let's just build a bridge. Like, who wants to have that debate with the neighbors? Let's just spend 420 billion. Did I read that correctly? 420 million euros. Nice, am I right? On a bridge, shall we? And again, politics and bridges. It's a sign of, again, the Croatian people, they want their bridge to the rest of Croatia. And there's just something about that idea that just appeals to people. Like, yeah, I can do that now. Our country can do that. Leveling up, if you will. And that's kind of one of the key things that makes infrastructure great. Speaking of great infrastructure, let's talk about the Polk Strait Bridge. This is a really, really interesting idea to me, because did you know Sri Lanka and India have been linked? Wait, you might have seen this earlier because I clicked the wrong thing. Did you know Sri Lanka and India look like they're connected? Like, when you go close enough, it's like, oh yeah, so you can just go from Sri Lanka to India, right? It's basically a land bridge. It's theorized that the land bridge only fully broke in the last 500 years. But Sri Lanka is an island I'm from. I mention this every time, like, oh, did you know my grandmother's Sri Lankan, and therefore, as a result of me being Asian, I can make Asian math jokes, even though it's the wrong part of Asia. Okay, I can make Asian curry jokes, though, at least, right? Okay, we're good on that. Anyway, so, no one ever guesses it because of how, like, ridiculously white I am. But the interesting thing here is that, Sri Lanka and India are not connected by fixed link. Wouldn't it be great if they did? And one of the things that, while I was looking into this, I found some because, again, like, the idea of a bridge, it's been dismissed, obviously, but I found this bridge, which is a bridge between the Pamban Island and the rest of India, because as you might spot if you look very closely right here, most of this bridge area belongs to India, and it's actually, I didn't realize this either, there are gaps between parts of India and other parts of India, which they fixed with the Pamban Bridge, which is really a interesting thing to look at. Oh, we can't get any closer. I guess we'll just show you this image again, because this is the one that made me go, oh my god, this is crazy to look at. Like, it is in India's first sea bridge, but also the longest sea bridge in India until 2010. And I looked into that other, whenever I see a fact like it used to be the longest and now it's not, I can't help but resist, be like, okay, so what's the scoop with that? Because, that maybe extend, make a big one there. What's the scoop of the longest sea bridge? And apparently this longest sea bridge was between one part of Mumbai and another part of Mumbai. Like, they even skipped the easiest way they could have done it, going over here. They went all the way around to there. And that, to me, at least, is like a cool project. I don't know why, but there's something interesting, maybe wasteful, but to me interesting, about the idea of like, yeah, we build a bridge, we don't even need the bridge, because we're good at bridges. We are India, we are #1 at building bridges, and that's something to be proud of, I think, or something for Mumbai to be proud of, at the very least. You're from the other side of India, you don't get to be proud of Mumbai. You from Pune? Nah. You don't. You are impugned to. Yeah. I'll welcome my jokes later. Okay. Speaking of jokes that I can make later, one of the interesting bridges that has to come up here, because while we're talking about sea tunnels, because sea bridges, sea tunnels, the one that always is going to come up, there's just no way of avoiding it, is the Hong Kong to Macau bridge. So China is, you guys heard of China? They're kind of a big deal these days. So China has two sub-countries within it. They're officially autonomous. They have their own legal system, currencies. Every time we go through this, it's hard to explain. But functionally, in every way besides officially, Hong Kong and Macau are countries. They have their own currencies. They have their own laws. But they're under China's umbrella in the same way that, like, I don't know, the Falkland Islands are a part of the UK or Guam is a part of America. Like, you know, they're their own thing, but also it comes under the umbrella of something else. So, with that said, Hong Kong over here, you know, lovely little land, and Macau over here are both kind of connected to each other in a surprisingly big way. And so, you know, even most of the way you get between them is a ferry. I took a really cool ferry between them once, you know. Would love to talk about that, but I won't. There is a really interesting ferry that you can take between them, but China figured, you know what, we're going to solve you guys' problem. We're a good dad, you know, Daddy China coming in, saving the day by building a bridge. It is the longest sea bridge in the world. It's absurd when you actually look at this thing. Should we see it in 3D? Yeah, it's absurd when you look at this thing. And the sheer scale of this bridge. And it sounds like a really good thing at first. Like, oh, they built a bridge between Hong Kong and Macau. Good guys, China, just coming in and spending money. Well, also it's a bridge between Hong Kong, Macau, and Zhuhai. So the Chinese mainland connects to both those things. And it's like, oh, so it's like China integrating those two countries. That's nice. That's a good way to lead towards China one day, taking away their right to self-determination. And then also you add on the fact that it's like, oh yeah, while you're on the bridge, because of course China built it, even though it's between Hong Kong and Macau, you can be going between just those two places, you need a Chinese driving license if you want to do that, and also you follow Chinese driving laws. So Hong Kong and Macau both drive on the left. Let's prove this point right now. Go to a random point in Macau. This is a terrible point to prove they drive on the left. Although it's a nice looking cannon right here. See, Macau's a nice place. You know, underappreciated parts of the world, Macau comes up top. It's Asian Vegas, you know, or Vegas is Asian, is Western Macau. So here you can see they are driving on the left, cars are on the right because they're driving on their left. Is that interesting? There you go, now you know. And just to prove the same thing is true, wow, here's me in Hong Kong going to a purely random point. I did a drive around Hong Kong for a stream recently, it was great. But wow, we're on the left side again because former British colony, former Portuguese colony. Wow, it all makes sense, doesn't it? It's interesting stuff. But if you're on this bridge right here, which I literally cannot be, they actually drive on the right-hand side, like in China. Which, for the record, you know what? Being on the left-hand side, suddenly being patriotic, right? But yeah, it's hard to like show and prove this one. But that means that they flip the traffic on both ends, just to say, hey, yeah, you're in China when you use this bridge. Daddy China paid for this. Yeah, don't you forget it. And that proves the real power between bridges. They did a good thing that connects these countries, but in the meantime, reminding very clearly, remember who built it. And that's kind of one of the reasons why bridges are such a good show of force. And you know what? Okay, I'm coming back to the UK. I live here, okay? I get to talk about it. What's the deal with the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland? And the deal is, there's no connection. There could be one. Again, it's so close in a few places, but there just isn't one. But what if that changed? What if perhaps there was a good idea? Because interestingly enough, like, people like to criticize the ideas a lot, and again, I want to always like see past that, but the one I found the funniest, and it's like obviously not going to happen, but I just find so inspiring, even though I know it's not going to happen, is Boris Johnson's tunnel plans to turn the Isle of Man into an underground roundabout. Basically, instead of having one big tunnel, again, you can't do a big tunnel because of Beaufort's Dyke, what if instead we use the Isle of Man, which is a part of the UK, which is also not connected by fixed link. You connect the Isle of Man to Liverpool. There's a strong connection between those two places. Then you connect the Isle of Man to Belfast. Then, because we need Scotland connected too, we can connect Scotland in there as well. Or we can, yeah, again, like basically, you can connect all 4 nations of the UK if you try hard enough. Because, yeah, here's the underground roundabout idea. This is an unrelated underground roundabout. Isn't this pretty though? Isn't, like, looking at this and then looking at this, even though it's entirely garbage and made up, aren't you inspired? Don't you want this bridge? Is it just me? Am I the only one that loves bridges here? This amount, apparently. Okay, maybe I am. But apparently, even the Irish Prime Minister is like, hey guys, this is dumb, but maybe we should do it. Because, again, you'd figure, like, the person who has the most to lose from this is the Irish, right? Because they want Northern Ireland back, in theory. And so Scotland and Northern Ireland being linked would be bad. But no, Irish Prime Minister equivalent, Leo Varadkar, has said, that he actually believed making a Celtic powerhouse be good. And he's like, yeah, bridges are cool. He basically says what I said. I've seen what the Chinese have got, 100-kilometer long bridges. I don't know if it's viable, but I don't think it should be dismissed. And he talks a lot about bridges that he likes. You know what? I relate to the Irish Prime Minister being like, yeah, we need a bridge between Scotland and Ireland. Might prevent London and the southeast from sinking. This is someone else actually right here. You know what? I'm going to believe that it's him anyway. But basically, yeah, I found it to be super interesting that he's... the full quote, which I have not got on this page because I am unprepared. He was talking about, like, in Louisiana, there's, like, this hilariously long bridge. He's like, if they can do it in Louisiana, why can't they do it here? Because, for real, if we go to Louisiana and we go to New Orleans, they're like, you know what, we don't want... This isn't a matter of linking two land masses that have otherwise never been linked. They're like, yeah, we hate driving around this lake, so we made a... How long is it? It's like 20-something... miles, I want to say. We made a 23-mile bridge across this river because we didn't want to go around it. That's inspiring infrastructure. Again, like, you know, I love how you can kind of get a feel for countries based on their bridges alone. Bridges are interesting, and even though this totally makes no sense, even though this isn't going to happen, wouldn't it be interesting? And given that we're living in Fantasyland anyway, you know what I figured we'd do? Move to pure Fantasyland, and that is, of course, MS Paint. And you know what I want to do? Again, in my dream world, I should have got a higher resolution map, really, shouldn't I? You know, this fits in the tune of the second channel being very low budget and terrible. But what I would love to do is, if we live in a world where money is nothing, so we already have a link from there to there, and you know, there's a few links across a lot of Europe too. You know, there's lots of great ideas. What bridges would Sir Toycat build as, you know, Emperor of Europe when I'm elected? You know, the EU will elect me any day now. We'll be good. I'll be leader for life. I'll do some bad things to get people to like me, and then when I'm in charge, I'll do the good things so that people, you know, realize like, well, you know, he's not doing the bad things I voted for him to do, but at least he makes the bridges run. And with that said, so you need a bridge to the Isle of Man. You know, I want to go to the Isle of Man, and I don't like how expensive the flights are. Boom. But then also, you need a bridge to Jersey and to... Is that Jersey and Guernsey there? You need a bridge to Jersey, and you don't want it to go to the Isle of Wight. We need to unbridge the Isle of Wight. So boom, there we need that. Or, you know, go radical on this one. We could build a bridge from, you know, Jersey and Guernsey to each other, and then a bridge from there to, like, all the way to Isle of Man. You know, screw it. We'll have a little roundabout where they can all connect. Then we'll go to Northern Ireland from there. We'll go to Scotland from there. But also, if you want to go to, like, you know, regular Ireland, and you don't want to go through the customs checks, it's all in the same common travel area. Also, while we're at it, you know, I've always liked those Orkney Islands. Let's connect them via bridge as well. You know that big island with the runway on the beach? Yeah, let's do it. Why aren't we bridging everything right now all the time? And the answer is there's good economic reasons, but there are a lot of bridges I feel like we're under considering. Like, you know what? Italy and Albania, I feel like that's a tunnel, a bridge, whatever you need to do. You could save a lot of people days of their life with a bridge. Oh, you can't. I'm zoomed in really far. I made a bridge down here. You missed it because I'm terrible at making videos. A bridge between Italy and Albania? Oh, why has this not been done so far? Even crazier to me is can we talk? You know, is this a video about bridges that I want to exist that don't? Okay, you know what's crazy to me? I went to Istanbul because to get into America right now, I have to go to a country that's not inside the Schengen area or the UK common travel area for 2 weeks before I can go in. It's a really fun rule that is definitely very enjoyable. But I spent 2 weeks in Istanbul. There is no footpath between Istanbul and Istanbul. Two parts of the same city, the largest city in the Europe area, and it's like, yeah, well, you see, the problem is we just didn't want to do one. So you have to take a ferry every time. And, you know, in the days of COVID, like, you know, that's more effort than just going for a walkie walk. I was insistent that, like, you know what? All I got to do is I've just got to walk on this bridge and it'll be fine. And you know what? It wasn't fine. Oh, actually, there's two people walking there. Although they look like builders, don't they? Yeah, they do look very official. Is there anyone walking on this bridge? And I just don't understand it. Why is walking from Europe to Asia not a possibility? I wanted to do that. I had a whole video. I was gonna chest mount a thing and make a third channel video crossing a continent in a video, and you ruined that for me, Turkey. Anyway, so I think bridges are cool. We should have more bridges. That's the message of today's video. You know, wouldn't a Italy to Albania tunnel be cool? Bari to Durrës, or you know, if we're being cheap on materials, Utrendo to Vlorë, or you know what? Screw it. If we're going fun anyway, why doesn't Croatia bridge all the way from Split or all the way from here, just across to Italy. I'm just saying, we got lots of options we should be considering, especially, you know, another one, Malta to Italy, you know? Just saying, there's so many good options that we need to consider. Even Italy to Italy. You know, bridges, tunnels. Let's make some of these. And in the subject of looking for this video, I was just like looking up bridges in construction. One thing I found by pure accident was not only this list of islands where, fun fact, Great Britain is not only the 9th biggest island, which is higher than I was expecting. You know, that's if you exclude the continental landmasses. But the 8th largest island is named after a British monarch. So I'm going to claim that for the UK too. Anyway, so, you know, 2 of the largest 10 islands. Pretty good, right? Anyway, with that said, I found about something called Hashi Wakakero, which is a bridge building puzzle by Nikolai, a Japanese publisher. But I thought that was such a, like, you know, I look at it and I'm like, ooh, this is compelling. It's a game where you just make bridges, huh? That sounds interesting. And then I found out you can just play it online. So we're going to make a puzzle right here, and we're going to do it. So you can only draw bridges, obviously, like straight forwards and up and down, etc. And you've got to build bridges between everything so that every island has the right number of bridges. So, oh, and the bridges can't overlap, apparently. So if I build one between these two, then I can't build one between these two. Ah, that's interesting, actually. So I guess we don't build a bridge between these. Instead, we just build 2 bridges there and 2 bridges there. And then, okay, this one needs 1 bridges, easy. This one needs 1 bridges, easy. This one needs 3, now we're good. It's like Minesweeper, but it's bridge mode, and I just find this compelling in a way that I wish I could describe. I wish it even made sense to anyone. It doesn't, though. Oh, look at this, we're getting places now. Okay, 2 bridges between these 2. I think we literally do just connect these 2 bridges to each other twice. Then this one needs 2, and that needs 6, so there we go. This one needs 7, so we got our 6 covered. And then, oh, but this needs 7. Oh, I guess, okay, you know, I guess this can't be 2 like that. It has to be 2 like that, and then 1 there, and then 1 there. Oh, no, this is 4, so we don't connect the 2 2s. It's counterintuitive. But we go like that, and now 4 to the 7, we're good. 2 to the 7, and I think we've done it. Are we good? Yeah, we solved the puzzle, and it only took 1 hour and 14 minutes. That's how long one, or was that 1 minute and 14 seconds? It's probably 1 minute and 14 seconds. That makes more sense. Anyway, I think this is a cutesy thing I found, and I'm going to spend time building bridges, and I want to share it. You know, rather than Sudoku, build bridges. Make the world a better place. Make the world more connected. Bridge Estonia and Finland. Why is Iceland not connected to Scotland? Let's do these things if we can one day, because I think bridges are cool, and you know what? I'm not ashamed to admit it. With that said, though, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I don't know what the second channel is anymore. We barrel off the point of facts and into the part of, you know what, wouldn't it be fun if I drew bridges in MS Paint very quickly? But that's why I like you here. Thank you for watching. I enjoyed your custom. And you know what, I'm going to ask you to subscribe. Just kidding. Goodbye.